Reading her past. Beyond the stories. Let's get one thing straight. Most men go about it all wrong. They meet a woman, start to connect, and within a few conversations, they're already digging for her past. What happened with your ex? Were you ever hurt? What was your childhood like? It seems innocent, even honest, like you're just trying to understand her. But here's the truth. The moment you ask, she starts curating. Not necessarily because she wants to deceive you, but because that's how human beings protect themselves. We edit the past. We choose the version that's easiest to live with, or the one that makes us look strongest, or sometimes, the one that hurts the least to retell. And that's the version most guys end up with. But what if I told you that you never needed to ask in the first place? That her past isn't just locked in her stories, but is revealed in her behavior, her tone, her reactions, and her silence. Because people don't just talk about their past. They live it. In this article, I'll break down exactly how to read those signs, what they really mean, and how to protect yourself from walking blindly into someone else's unresolved story. S by SDAD. Her relationship with attention, the emotional echo of neglect. If you want to peek into a woman's emotional past, watch her relationship with attention, especially from men. How does she react to compliments? What's her body language like when she walks into a room? How does she respond to online engagement? Does she absorb attention like oxygen, lighting up every time a man validates her? Or does she seem calm, grounded, unfazed? A woman who was emotionally ignored in a past relationship, or even by her parents, often grows to measure her worth by how many people notice her. She might mention her DMs a little too often. She might casually remind you how many men won't leave her alone. This isn't about arrogance. It's about emotional survival. And if you're not careful, you might find yourself in a relationship where your attention is never enough, because it was never meant to be. You're not judging her. You're reading the why behind her behavior. How she talks about other women, a mirror of her inner world. Want to see a woman's insecurities? Watch how she speaks about other women. If every woman she mentions is fake, slutty, probably cheating, or too much, it's not just judgment. It's projection. Women who have been betrayed by female friends may reject sisterhood altogether. Those who feel chronically inadequate may lash out at any woman who seems to be thriving. A woman who constantly says, "I don't get along with other women," is often carrying wounds, not independence. If she's secure in herself, she'll likely be secure in how she views others. But if every other woman is a threat, she's still living in a defensive emotional state, and you need to ask yourself if you're ready to walk through that battlefield. Conflict style. The past replaying in real time. You want to know who she really is? Don't just watch how she acts when things are good. Watch her when things go wrong. Does she shut down when hurt? Does she explode and blame? Does she try to guilt you into apologizing even when you didn't do anything wrong? These are not random. These are emotional reflexes built from history. Maybe she was punished for expressing emotion. Maybe she had to become aggressive to avoid being hurt. Either way, conflict becomes a window into her past. You're not looking for perfection. You're looking for patterns. Does she try to understand, or does she try to win? Her relationship timeline. The clues hidden in conversation. Forget asking, "When was your last relationship?" That almost always triggers a rehearsed answer. Instead, listen closely to her stories. "We used to go to that place." Who's we? That was 2 years ago. She just gave you a timeline without knowing. After everything fell apart, I had to rebuild. That's not just a breakup. That's a collapse. People drop clues all the time without realizing it. The key is to listen to what isn't said, to the emotional weight behind the phrases. That's how you build an emotional timeline without ever sounding like an investigator. Her views on men. Trust history in disguise. Does she talk about men like they're inherently broken? Does she make constant jokes about how all men cheat? That tone is history. That sarcasm is usually a scar. A woman who believes most men are untrustworthy likely came to that conclusion through repeated disappointment. Even if she likes you, those beliefs won't disappear overnight. They'll show up in how she interprets your silence, your flaws, your mistakes. You're not just dating her, you're dating her emotional assumptions. So be honest with yourself. Are you stepping into a relationship or into a battlefield already littered with old weapons? How she talks about her family. The blueprint of emotional bonds. You don't need to dig for dark secrets. Just listen to how she casually refers to her parents. Yeah, my dad was around. I guess we weren't close, but whatever. That, whatever, often carries the heaviest pain. The relationship she had with her father, especially, shapes how she views emotional security with men. If love had to be earned, she might constantly seek reassurance. If love was inconsistent, she might flinch when things get calm, expecting chaos. You're looking for emotional coding, the default language she learned before she ever met you. Because people rarely outgrow the way they were taught to feel love. What moves her, and what doesn't. You'll learn more about her by watching what makes her emotional than any question ever could. Does she choke up during scenes of abandonment in movies? Does she skip a song that clearly hits too close? Does she act cold when you open up? These are all emotional tells. People don't react strongly, or fail to react, without reason. Every tear, every numb response, is tied to a memory. And whether it's tenderness or toughness, both reveal the shape of her past. Observation over interrogation. The real power. The smartest men don't ask about her past. They let it reveal itself. They notice the flinch when a plan changes. They hear the hesitation behind a compliment. They observe what she laughs at, and what she doesn't. Observation is emotional intelligence in action. It's how you connect deeply without pushing too hard. It's how you spot the difference between the mask and the woman behind it. And that difference is everything. Final thoughts. Stop chasing stories. Start seeing the truth. If you've made it to the end of this, you're already ahead of 90% of men. Because most guys chase stories. You're learning to read truth. The kind hidden in tone, in pauses, in tension. When you develop this level of emotional awareness, you stop wasting time. You stop falling for fantasy. And you start building something real, with women who are ready, grounded, and emotionally present. So next time you sit across from her, don't ask her about her past. Just watch. She'll show you everything.